It was a moment that defined the nature of the man. In a walk across the sacred grounds of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, Ariel Sharon demonstrated his belief that Israel had sovereignty over all of Jerusalem. It was an action that sparked off the Second Palestinian Uprising and resulted in Sharon becoming Prime Minister in a matter of months. His willingness to take risks was always legendary. Regarded as a maverick by his military superiors, Sharon continually produced the results that defied criticism, and his military career was marked by a series of audacious campaigns and victories. After years in the field, he was appointed defense minister, and in 1982 he sent Israeli forces into Lebanon, forces that stood by and did nothing, while Phalangist fighters killed some 2,000 people in the Sabra and Shatila refugee camps. It should have been the end of Sharon's political career. An Israeli commission of inquiry found him indirectly responsible and recommended that he never hold public office again. It was a recommendation that Sharon typically ignored, winning first the contest against Benjamin Netanyahu for the leadership of the Likud party, and then after his walk at Al-Aqsa, storming to a general election victory. He promised the country security and took a long-term view. While a wave of suicide bomb attacks hit Israel, Sharon ramped up a process in which hundreds of thousands of immigrants from the former Soviet bloc countries were granted Israeli citizenship. And he ordered the construction of a separation barrier. Its success from a security point of view disputed, but at the same time it physically redefined what Israel regarded as its borders. Sharon had always been an advocate of Israeli settlement in what he called Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, and his years in office were marked by a steady increase in the number of settlers. At the same time, he determined the settlements in Gaza were not in Israel's strategic interest, and in 2005 he ordered the settlers be removed. He had no qualms about physically removing settlers from the Sinai decades before, a mark of his fundamental Zionist belief that no claim should be made on land that was not regarded as Israel. And part of this Zionism, Sharon's view that his lifetime enemy Yasser Arafat did not threaten his religion, but his country. It was a hostile relationship that had a deeply personal content. Sharon had fought against Yasser Arafat's forces in Lebanon, eventually driving the Palestinian leader out of that country. And as Prime Minister, with the backing of the US President, he sought to exile Arafat from his own people, in the final stages even knocking down the walls of the compound that he would not allow Arafat to leave. His health deteriorating, Arafat left his shattered headquarters in Ramallah and once again went into exile. This time not to return. Sharon had won again. But the victory was short-lived. As Sharon was preparing for yet another election, he suffered a massive stroke and never regained consciousness. After years of lying in a coma, this proudly Zionist general, who'd been on the front line of so many battles, suffered his final defeat. Mike Hanna, Al Jazeera.